Hi everyone, it's EstaRa with a message for you. Today is Thursday, June 7th, 2018. I know it's been a while since we've had a little contact. A lot has been happening over the last month, so I want to catch us up to speed a little bit and talk about what is going on. First, I want to say that it has been one of the most difficult months I've had in a really long time. A lot of family stuff, a lot of family health issues. It was like one after another and pretty major things, not simple little things. And then on top of it, my own stuff started kicking up. As a result of what was going on with my family, it just added to it, in addition to some other things happening here in my world. But the good news is I'm doing better today than I've been in a really long time. At least it'll be a month tomorrow, since everything has just been kind of crazy and up in the air. And what's really interesting is we are in a time right now where massive change is taking place, right? But it's literally unearthing all the things which I talked about in previous videos, the most recent ones, about how we are getting those blocks that we've used to prevent us from being who we are. Those blocks are starting to surface and be in our space, showing us like you have to deal with this to go forward. And what's really incredible and amazing about that is that it is what you've been asking for. It is what we've been asking for. So I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit. I'm going to make this a pretty short video. I don't want to talk too long. I'm actually really tired, but I want to get this information out to you, and I apologize for it taking so long. But honestly, there's been so much going on in my world that it's been unbearable, to say the very least. So I want to do some announcements really quick before I forget. So on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing an online webinar, the monthly Twinflame meditation. So if you would like to join me, please feel free to. The price is $11.11, and that is in it. The link will be inside the video. And so in this meditation, it's really powerful when there's a lot of people on it, whether you're on the call or whether you're being included in the call. And what I mean by that is if you sign up for it, but you can't make it at that time or you miss the time, no worries, because you get a recording sent to you right after. So within 24 hours, or actually being quicker than that, usually it's a quick turnaround time, but just in case for some reason I can't do it right away, you'll receive the recording in your email shortly thereafter. What I would like you to know is that in those meditations, it's one of the most powerful things that happens with Twin Flames. Like a lot of movement, a lot of energy happens, a lot of healing happens. And you know, I'm feeling like the healing and the clearing that's happening right now for all of us, it seems scary and overwhelming for the majority of people out there. But the truth is, it's actually doing what we've been asking. We've been asking for, like, show me the blocks, show me the way. And Spirit is like, okay, we're going to show you. Are you ready to receive it? And are you ready to actually do something with it? So that's kind of what's happening. I don't have the topic of our Twin Flame group meditation, because what usually happens is that morning I connect with everyone that's going to be on the call. I ask my guides what is in the best and highest good for everyone there, and I start to receive guidance, and we go from there. And sometimes I don't even get the guidance until the phone call. And so it's a channel, it's a healing, typically a channel, a healing, and a guided meditation. And as a group, it amplifies the energy, and everybody gets to experience pretty intense experiences with the meditation. So if that's something you're interested in, please check the links below. Also coming up, there are going to be some numerous opportunities coming up over the summer that I haven't offered in a while, and that might be something you're looking forward to. So if you're not on my mailing list, please email me at april@soulstarhealing.com. The link is below to sign up for my email list. Unfortunately, my website, I have had to put that on hold due to the family crises that have been going on, and I was sick for a couple months, as you all know, from having the flu. And so I've had a couple people reach out to me about assisting me with my website, but I haven't had the opportunity to actually get back to anyone. So if you're one of those people, thank you, and I promise to get back to you at some point when I am feeling clearer in terms of the ability to focus on that. Right now I'm focusing on a few things that have to get handled personally, but also on a few things that need to just get completed. For example, a couple of books that I've been working on. And that So that being said, please just contact me through email to get the more accurate information, or check out my Facebook page, which is also below in the links. And that gives you pretty updated what's going on for classes and stuff. So if you're in the New York or Connecticut area, I offer classes in both locations. So please feel free to reach out to me for that information as well, and I'll be happy to give that to you. Also, I want to talk now about what's been happening. So what I want to share with you, how do we begin this? So there's a lot going on for the twin flames, okay? So the twin flames, a lot of energy has been coming over the last few years. Now it's about integration. Now it's about really working through the levels of energy that it needs to get through to get the healing into the physical and happening here. But what I'm going to start with is this is kind of like a global thing. It's not just twin flames, but please recognize that as a twin flame, this is happening to you. And it might be a little bit more amplified than the average Joe out there, or Josephine. The reason I say that is because the energy for the twin flames is a little more intense because we have a bigger role of clearing for everyone on the planet. We have this, everyone within our soul group, we kind of work together in unison as a grouping for clearing. So when our soul group is experiencing stuff, we are typically experiencing stuff. And all that means simply is like, you might be dealing with some inner child stuff coming up, which is totally normal. But then your other person in your soul group that you may or may not even know is dealing with inner child stuff. So the more they're dealing with inner child stuff, it's amplifying your inner child stuff. And so as you clear it, it's actually a permanent clearing, but it's a clearing that has to happen more widely. So it's not just you focusing on you, even though that's your intention and that's what's happening. It literally reaches out and expands outward into your whole soul group. And so the same for them, when they're working on something that they need to heal, and it's something that is in your field that needs clearing, healing, or accessing, what they do is they do their thing and it reaches out to you. It's the beauty of being part of a soul group. And the negative part is you get to feel everything. As twin flames, you're already feeling stuff for your twin and yourself. So that's a given. And typically it's the more awake individual. And I say awake, but honestly, I truly just mean the more aware individual, the one that's more consciously on this path, consciously aware. This is why we're here, what we're supposed to do. Now, I'm not saying your divine counterpart that might not say those words doesn't already know who they are and why they're here, but they might not understand how important it is. They might not have the other layers that each of us have access to. And I'd like to say it's more typically the divine masculine that is lagging behind. But let me tell you, lag no more. They're changing. The energy is shifting and they're not lagging like they used to. The divine masculine is actually doing their work. And I've seen it with my own twin. Pretty incredible, amazing things have been going forward. And, you know, I've kind of put a little stop on it because of the stuff that's been going on with me. And quite honestly, the stuff going on with me is very important, has to be dealt with before I can actually address some of the stuff with my twin. And that being said, this is the stuff that's been kicked up for me with my family, but for myself is actually something that has to be addressed before I can actually be in complete union with my twin. And I realize that and I understand it. But in order to do that, I must do it without his assistance. And what I mean by that is without him really being present there for me. In addition to the fact that he's not capable of being that part in my life at this moment because he has his own stuff he's dealing with. So the twin flame energy, we're working, okay? The divine masculine is actually doing their work and they've been working really, really hard, particularly for the last couple of years. So let's talk a little bit about 2012 for a moment. So when 2012 actually was, it was specifically 11/11/11, so November 11th, 2011, my guide said, channel to me, here comes the love train. Are you ready to get on the love train? Love train was the massive awakening for twin flames. Now, many of us had already been awakened to the twin flame journey, okay? Many of us have been on the journey. We've been in the separation or whatever was back and forth, whatever was happening at the time. That was in existence prior to 2011. But when 11/11/11 came, a new energy came and said, listen, here's the love train and we are bringing love your way. And do you want to be on it? Because if you do, we're waking you up. It's time. And so in essence, it just woke up all the twins that were sleeping and said, hey, pay attention. It's time. It's time. It's time. And so as the love train started moving through, it created a ripple effect out into the planet. So the planet started to shift and evolve. As you know, 2012 came. So during 2012, new energy started entering our planet. We had ended a cycle. We had ended a energetic, we ended it earlier in November. But when 11/11 came in, that new energy started filtering into the earth in a very different way than light had come to the earth before. So light always had been to the earth, but there were so many blocks and obstructions. But with the shifting of the cycle, the energy started coming in more. And so what I'm going to do is give it to you in a very simplistic way of what is happening currently on our planet with regard to us and our twin flames, but also with regard to everyone on the planet. But I'm bringing it back a little bit in time to kind of explain it to you in a very simplistic way. My guides are telling me this is the easiest way for me to clarify it for you. So what's been happening is this energy coming in from this new energy coming in. It was much stronger and much more powerful and able to push through, especially to those people who said, I'm on the love train, pick me up, I'm here, get me, come get me. And so as we did that, we said, okay, I'm awake. So if you're a twin flame that's awake, then your other half is actually being like shaken awake and being thrown into situations and positions to awaken them within further and to get them to go forward more. And so what's really beautiful and wonderful about that is that those that didn't even know what the journey was about started to understand there is a connection here that I don't really know how to let go of. I don't really know who this person is, but I know I want to be with them. And so that was kind of what the awakening energy happened. So when I think of that, I liken it to your crown chakra being open, right? So the light pouring in, starting to come into the planet is like awakening this crown chakra, clearing blocks and obstructions. And it's not to say that you don't have your own individual blocks and obstructions, but this is more collectively what was happening on the planet. So it's pouring down upon us. And it really did start to spin people into some chaos, into some issues and some challenges and like some pretty life-altering things that happened. And I say life-altering because maybe it switched your path or it stopped you in your tracks and it made you reevaluate and reassess and reflect upon where you were and where you wanted to go. And so that was like around 2012, 2013 or so. And I would even venture to say into 2014. Energy started to move a little bit more. It was coming on the planet more, a little more intensely, and it's been coming in. And so as it's coming in, it's starting to work through your field, right? So it's working through the higher dimensions, but then it starts to move into your physical being and your physical energy body. So your physical energy body has all your chakras. So as it made its way down into the chakras, it moved into your intuitive center, which is considered your third eye. As the energy started doing that, not only were people like awakening a little bit and feeling like, there's something more for me here. There really is something more for me here, questioning their own being and their own individuality. What ended up happening after that was when it got to the more intuitive side, it started to awaken people to expand their consciousness. So this light that's coming in is like incredibly strong, and it got even stronger. So what it did is it opened everyone up to this massive amount of awakening. And we've been in this massive amount of awakening for quite some time now. And what it's done is even people you don't think are open-minded, even people that you think are like, oh, they're so backwards, they're so old school, they don't really know what they're talking about, whatever you may be thinking, or they'll never change. Here's what I want to tell you. Every living being on the planet has expanded its consciousness. Whether it's consciously in your awareness or not, it has happened. It happens in such a way that it's almost like a switch was flipped on and there you go. But it wasn't like that, okay? It didn't just happen that way. It's actually energetically, it's been happening. And so it just becomes more noticeable. So I'm going to share a very personal example, a very cool one though. My mom, for example, for years, she's very religious and she's very stuck in her ways, just like as many parents are, older generation, and she's in her late 70s. And so for the last few years, she's been saying she's been stuck. She's homebound. She has a lot of physical injuries that she sustained in a really bad car accident in her 40s back many years ago. And she's been on disability and she can't really move. She really struggles to move every day. So she's in a walker and sometimes a wheelchair depending upon her day, if it's a good day or a bad day. And she gets around, and I got to tell you, for somebody who is in physical pain like she is all the time, and emotional pain, because I can tell you she didn't heal a lot of stuff from her childhood. It still sits there for her. All of that stuff. She is a feisty little person, and she is really strong-willed, and I give her so many kudos and credit. I'm very proud of my mom, and I love her so much. I just wish that she took better care of herself throughout the years, meaning that she did some of the healing stuff that I'm teaching people about. But of course, we didn't know that stuff back then. So anyway, she has been saying, I need something to read. I'm bored. I'm sick of TV. I don't want to watch TV. I want to do something more. And she knits and crochets, but her hands aren't always good. So that gets difficult for her at best. And so she asked for books, and I said, oh, I have books for you. I'll bring you books. I have a whole spiritual library. So I've created this giant library in my office. And what's funny about that is it's only probably 200 and something books now, but it used to be like almost 1,000 books in my old office when I was in a different location. And when I moved, I started to give away all my books. I totally gave them away. And now I'm at the place of just I've donated some, and now I'm actually asking people to, offer donations for some of the books, because I want to refund some extra books that I want to buy and put in there. But it's a spiritual library. People can come and take a book out and check it out, like our library. Anyway, I digress, so we'll go back to the point. So the point is that I've been bringing my books to my mom. And, I thought at first, oh, she ain't going to read these books. And I brought her some, typical fiction stuff that she would have wanted to read that I read years ago, or I found that at a bookstore I thought was really good for her, and I brought them. But then I was starting to slip in a couple spiritual books here and there. So one day, I was talking to her, and it was this year, but I've been doing this for a few years now. I was talking to her about 9 months ago, and she said to me something that was totally off the center of her. She was very open-minded to some stuff that I was talking about, and she said, that book on that Conversations with God book, I really like that. Do you have another one? And I laughed, and I was like, oh my God, did you read that? I go, did you finish your book? And she showed me, she's like, yeah, I'm all done. I actually started the other one you gave me, and I'm almost done with that one too. I was floored. I couldn't even believe she read them. And I've seen the shift in her, and how she behaves, I guess is the way I would word it, how she reacts to things. That's the better word. How she reacts to things I say or to anybody else says. And she's shifted and she's changed. So that showed me her expansion. I've also seen my father soften and expand more, which is incredible and beautiful. And I've seen it with other people in my life, like even my brothers who are kind of negative and not really open to what I do or this world of energy healing or the whole movement of self-care, all that stuff. They usually rely on external stuff. When I look at them, I see that some of their consciousness has changed. So it happens. It's possible. Even the people you don't think it can, it does. So that was the movement down, right? So it's moving down. And then energy in the last year or so, I would say couple years, moving down and it's moving down at the pace that each individual is able to integrate, filter through it, work through it, and expand through it. Now, a lot of us are clearer up here, so it's easier for the light to come in this way, right? But we're not so clear from the physical chakras down. Heart breaks, betrayal, all that stuff that sits in the heart chakra, all right there. So all of that is going to create any kind of pressures, resistance, any of that stuff will make it a little bit more difficult, a little tougher. That'll bring us up to current in a moment. So as the energy of the last year and a half or so, maybe a couple of years, we started to move into our throat chakra, right? The energy started moving down. Now, again, not everybody's at the same place. It's just we're in ascension, right? So we're not all on the same rung of the ascension ladder. So picture a ladder and different rungs on the ladder, and everybody's at a different one. And that's okay. Expect that, accept them where they are. By the time it gets down here, we start speaking up more. We start speaking out more. We start to create, let's say, political activism. We start creating more of campaigns for truth, campaigns for what we want, and begin to put out some real material about change and what's not acceptable anymore. We start speaking our truth as a collective. So what does that look like? So in America, there's this huge movement of the Me Too movement. Women speaking out about harassment. Men speaking out about harassment. Not just harassment, but rape, sexual inappropriateness. And speaking out about actually cultural stuff, racial stuff. All this stuff is coming to the surface and people are starting to speak it out. That is what is supposed to happen. That is where we're at because we're moving that, right? So that started to really, really come into play in the last year and a half. Again, like I said, we're all on a different rung of the ascension ladder. So some people might not be quite there yet. Some people might be done with that and on to the next thing. Or some people are right in the middle of that. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. We're all supposed to be where we're supposed to be. So here's the other next piece. So in the last year, and I'm going to say pretty much specifically the last year, energy started moving down here. Wow. Think about right here. What is this? The biggest center, the biggest chakra that we focus on and we don't focus on. It is our heart. This is where healing takes place. This is the chakra where we determine inside our capacity to love by either blocking love or allowing love in. Giving love and receiving love happens in this chakra. Healing and receiving healing happens in this chakra. This is such an important chakra and it is being activated with the light. It's coming through, but it can't activate fully. So the way my guys are showing me in the visual on the side of my head over here, they're showing me it's kind of like a wheel starting to spin and it gets jarred because there's a block and then it bangs up against, bangs up against, bangs up against, and then it breaks through. And then it moves again and it bangs up against, and then it moves through. That's what's happening. That is what's been happening since January of 2017 when, if you all remember, if you've been following me for a while, if you all remember, back then I had channeled the masculine, divine masculine was having a heart-breaking open energy, an energy that broke open their hearts. And that was beginning back then. Well, we're full force into that energy right now. And it's not just for divine masculine. So if you think of how the twin flame energy is, everyone has masculine in them. Everyone has feminine energy within them. So if you are typically, so I'm going to put it the way that Magdalene and Yeshua shared it with me several years back, because I didn't understand that whole concept. I wanted them to clarify how that worked. If I feel like I'm the divine feminine and my counterpart is the divine masculine, I don't understand how that works. So they explained to me, this is again, basic and simplified, so it's not accurate. It's just the easiest way to explain it to you and the most clear way to explain it to you. So the divine feminine carries within her or him, again, it's just whoever the divine feminine, carries 75% divine feminine energy and 25% of the divine masculine. Their divine masculine counterpart carries 75% divine masculine and 25% divine feminine. So in order for you to balance out your masculine and feminine, you come together and it's 50-50, right? You create that balance. And so that being said, one expresses more divine feminine, one expresses more divine masculine. Again, you don't have to be male or female to express either of those things. You have to be human, but you don't have to be male or female. And what's interesting about that 25% inside the divine feminine needs to be healed and awakened. So her divine masculine has to be healed, balanced, and repaired. So the divine feminine for a long time, I would say the last 15, 20 years, have been working on their heart chakra, right? Because they become more, the divine feminine becomes softer, has been forced, if you will, I say forced, my guides laugh at me when I say that, to heal their heart and to become more open and more gentle and more intuitive, right? So typically the divine feminine is doing that. I say typically. And then the divine masculine, typically they're not quite doing that. But again, I say typically, it's not generalizing everyone. What's happening is the divine masculine is having that heart-breaking open, right? It's been happening since January of 2017. The light is still moving in. It's moving down. But in the last 3 months, the light is stronger yet again than it's ever been. And what's really interesting about that, my guides had told me that as soon as we had the March equinox, the energy was going to move faster and it's going to be more powerful and major changes are going to start to take place. And they said, you won't notice them, you won't see them for a few months. And I'm beginning to recognize some of the changes taking place, because some of the changes that are taking place are within my own heart chakra and the people around me. So when you think about energies moving in, coming down into your energy field, what is getting kicked up? Well, what's in your heart? Any betrayals you've carried this lifetime, previous lifetime, with your twin or without your twin? Any lack of self-love? Any feelings of unworthiness or unlovableness? Is that even a word? I don't think so. But feeling unloved. Relationship stuff, basically. And any place where you've blocked love. So heart chakra has become a very, very, very much like, my guides are making me laugh. They're saying it's kind of like a battleground right now of opening. It's trying to open. Your heart chakra, all the energies right now is trying to open you to receive and to give love. And many of us think, oh, we give love all the time. We're so good about that. But in order to fully have an open heart, I was told this and taught this a long time ago by my guides. In order to have a fully open heart, you must be able to receive. And there are so many of us divine feminine that are not able to receive. And we are very, it's very hard for us to receive. We usually put blocks up. We usually put a shield up. Or we think, I can do it myself. We're in survival mode. We're survivors. We can do this. I'm independent. I don't need anybody else. And a lot of us divine feminine, we've had to do that through our lives because we grew up in families or circumstances where that was the way to live and survive. Well, guess what? That can't be anymore. We have to be able to ask for help. We have to be able to put it out there to the universe what we need. And so what I found is in the last few months, I've seen a number of people have heart chakra stuff coming up. So whether it is like asthma, a heart attack, any kind of heart surgery, any kind of lung issues, any kind of anxiety, anything that you could think of that would fit in this center, any kind of stuff related to that, any kind of relationship stuff, any kind of fear, anything you've stuffed and suppressed down because you couldn't go there, never fully wanted to go there, didn't want to deal with it, but you're like, I'm in love and I want to feel that love. Like on another level, you're saying that, but you're not yet ready to fully let it in. That's surfacing for you. So that's where we're at on the planet. That's what's been happening for the last few months. Your divine masculine is in the same state that you're in. So recognize that both of you are working through that. And I have to tell you, what I'm gathering from my guides is there's not anyone on this planet that's untouched. It's just the timing is different for everyone. So some people are feeling it right now. Some people are moving through it. Some people moved through it. Some people are just beginning to move through it. It depends how the light gets filtered into you. So that's where we are right now. That's where your divine masculine is. Pay attention. Your divine masculine is waking up to you. They want to be with you. And when I say that, they might not know who you are. They might not know your name. They might not be like, that is who I want to be with. Or they might know all of that stuff about you, but they might not know, like, that's where I want to be. What they're waking up to is, I want to be loved, and I think I deserve it. And most divine masculine did not believe they deserve love in the way that this love is coming in. And a lot of divine feminine never believed they could have that kind of love. They might have had the dreams and the fantasy of it, but they didn't always believe they can have it. And we are becoming unprogrammed, if you will. We're deprogramming the belief system of the Cinderella story. And I use that because, honestly, we've held on to a lot of those fairy tales and we still teach them to our young children. And I really, really hope that that changes and evolves pretty rapidly and quickly, that the young girl is innocent and she's weaker and she needs a strong man to come save her and rescue her. That is not at all the journey of twin flames. The journey of twin flames is you're kind of equal. You've cleared your crap and now you're like, I choose you. I want to be with you. This is my choice to be with you because I love you and that love is there. So that is what's going on internally with all of us. That is going on with your divine masculine, with the divine feminine. It is going on with everyone on the planet. So don't be surprised if you find a lot of people having health issues around their heart chakra. Don't be surprised if you find a lot of people struggling with emotions around their heart chakra issues, relationship issues. And don't be surprised if your twin flame out of nowhere picks up the phone and calls you and tells you they want to be with you. Or don't be surprised if your twin flame says, hands off, stay away, I need a break. don't be surprised, because everybody is being called to focus on their heart and to heal what's within them. And if we're focusing on our heart and healing what's within us, then guess what? Eventually it clears and we come together with our twin flame. But we have to go here first. And you know, there is a saying, a quote that I absolutely adore and love, and I'm probably going to say it wrong, but you'll all know what I'm talking about. And I don't know who said it, because of course I don't remember that. But it's like, our job is not to seek and find love, but our job is to remove all barriers and blocks that we've created from love. So it's basically time. Let's remove those blocks of love. It's time, it's time, it's time, it's time, because the universe is placing everything in alignment and we're there. It's up to us to step into that role. And I've been talking about how important this year is. It's a very important year. It's time to let go of the chains that have been binding you down, holding you back from who you really are. It's really important to be the magnificent being of light that you are, because that is what your soul is seeking for you to express. But that's also what your divine counterpart's soul is seeking within you. And so, because when you radiate that energy, they radiate that energy. When they radiate the energy, you radiate the energy, and you're just drawn like a magnetic pull that does not separate and will not let you go. So I send you all so much love. I do have one favor to ask of all of you. So as most of you know, if you've been following me for a while, I've been struggling and having like a really difficult time working more than my part-time hours, because I've had physical body issues and a tremendous amount of crazy financial struggles due to that. And the last couple months have been crazy with family stuff, but honestly with my own health stuff. And so I met with finally someone who gets what's wrong with me. I met a functional neurologist who is willing to work with me and told me it shouldn't take that long for treatments, but he knows exactly what's wrong with me, and it was out of my control. It's definitely a neurological thing. And he's offered to work with me. However, I don't have insurance to cover that. I mean, I have insurance, but not for that. And I have to travel into the New York City to do that, as well as pay the sessions, the treatments. And so I have a fundraiser. I'm going to throw it in there. And I just ask, if you watch my videos and you enjoy some of this, I'm not asking for a lot of money from you. I'm really asking for support in getting this taken care of, because I don't have the extra money to put towards that. Sometimes I barely have enough to eat these days. So I'm trying to make that happen in a way where, like, all this physical stuff that's happened this year has really hindered me, you know, the flu and the sinus and all that stuff that happened physically, in addition to never being able to catch up since my car accident a few years ago. So I ask that if you can offer to donate something, I would really appreciate it and be very grateful. I'm going to put that link below. Thank you so much. I send you all so much love. Namaste. And I hope this message helps you out, and open your heart.